Leslie Clifford, and I am the honors director on the Mansfield campus. And I've been honors director at Mansfield for about 8 years now. And I'm also a professor in the biology department. And I'll let Bella introduce herself. But Bella, before you do that, Sean, Katie can't get her video going. So we can work on that. Go ahead, Bella.
Hi, my name is Bella. I'm a senior at Mansfield in the honors program. I'm an English major with an environmental science minor, and that's about it. I'm all around campus, excited to graduate.
Fantastic. Good. There's Katie. You want to
Hi.
introduce?
I'm Katie. I'm a senior at Mansfield campus. I am a psychology major. My focus is in counseling.
Thank you, Katie and Bella, for being here tonight. So my thinking was I would do a little PowerPoint presentation for people. If you guys have questions as we go along, please feel free to pop them in the chat and we'll try to address them. If you have questions specifically for the students, they would be happy to answer those as well. So I'll go ahead and share my screen. Okay, so first I want to talk for a few minutes about the advantages of being part of the Honors College, some of the reasons that you might consider joining the Honors College. So the first one would be to be part of the Honors College community, which includes students from all different majors. It includes athletes and musicians and actors and journalists. So the students in the Honors College are very diverse. But what makes us all sort of what we have in common is the students are really engaged and curious about the world around them, and they're interested in expanding their academic experience a little bit beyond what they would get from just their major and their general education. And I do want to assure you that our goal with the honors program is not to make things more difficult for you. It's just to give you a little bit of a different experience and allow you to explore things both academic and cultural and social that you might not have the opportunity to do where you're not part of the honors program. So we do sponsor a number of field trips each semester, and I'll talk a little bit more about those. And those field trips are paid for by the Honors College. So what you see here on the bottom right-hand side of the screen, we've got 2 honors students. We did a field trip to the Grand Canyon of Pennsylvania, and we did a hike. And that the students had a lot of fun, although they they didn't realize how far they'd hiked down until they had to turn around and hike back up. Another reason that you might want to join the Honors College is that it will make you more marketable. It will look good on your resume. And it will give you some opportunities as well. We have the opportunities to act as a peer mentor, for example. And that would be an opportunity once you are an upperclassman to act as a mentor for a freshman student, for several freshman students. So you get some extra leadership opportunities. And we have a number of other opportunities as well. And then there are some perks such as priority registration. So for example, fall registration is just started yesterday, and all of the honors program students are able to register before students who aren't in that priority group. So all the honors program students were able to register today. Even those that only have, say 20 or so earned credits, which normally if you're not an honors program student or in one of the other priority groups, such as athletes, the students that only have a few credits have to wait till the very end in order to register. We also have some honors program space, some honors college space on campus. So there is a lounge, and that lounge, all honors students have access to it, whether you're a commuting student or whether you reside on campus. And it has a kitchen facility and a lounging, a sort of community space, and it's got some computers, and you get free printing there as well. And there is some honors housing available. The honors housing is optional. It is in Spruce, and the units are a little bit nicer than what is commonly available to first-year students. So that is a perk as well. And then when at graduation, you'll be recognized with a medallion, and your transcript will indicate that you finished the honors program. Sean, how are we doing? Or do we have questions yet? No? Okay. So what are the requirements then of being part of the honors program? So the first requirement is that you would need to complete 3 honors seminar courses over the whole time that you're at Mansfield. So that's not per semester or per year, that's 3 total seminar courses. And these courses also count for general education. So again, we're not asking you to do more work, we're just asking you to do things a little bit differently. The courses are unique. They're not the same courses that everybody else gets to take. So it's not like just an honor section of Composition 1 or an honor section of Introduction to Psychology. We work really hard to provide very interesting topics for our seminars. They're discussion based, and there's a cap of 20, so that it's not going to be a big class. Like your intro to psychology might have 60 to 90 students in it, for example. So these are going to be smaller courses, and they'll be very discussion driven. And we try to make them interdisciplinary so that you can think about things from multiple points of view. And I've listed on here just a few examples of some of the courses that we've taught or will be teaching next semester. So in the, let me think, we're in the spring. In the fall, Dr. Kennedy, who you actually see in this photo here, taught a course called Who Owns the Past? She's a trained archaeologist, and so she and her students explored questions about how you handle archaeological remains, about different ideas from different cultures with regards to handling archaeological remains, and who should own those. So that was a fun topic for that seminar. This semester, one of our English professors is teaching a literature course that surrounds climate change. And in the fall, one of the options is going to be a social justice course that looks at how you can use crafts, in particular textiles, to advocate for social justice. And I thought that at this point, we might just ask Isabella and Katie each to tell us about one of the honors courses that they've taken that they enjoyed and why they enjoyed it.
So one of my favorite honors courses, it was called How Do We Know? And it was with our philosophy professor, Dr. McAvoy. And it was just talking about like the field of like epistemology, like how we know things and how do we know things. And it was really interesting because she also brought in different professors from different fields to talk about like in their field, how do you know something? Like, how do you know science versus how do you know something in English? And it was pretty interesting. And that class was really small. I think there might have only been 9 of us, but it was interesting, even with just 9 of us, how different all of our majors were. So all of our papers were pretty different. So it was a really interesting course.
My favorite honors course that I took was called Why Do Civilizations Rise and Fall? It's a political science course. It was co-taught by Dr. Bosworth, who's a political science professor, and Dr. Clifford, who you see here, who's a biology professor. And the course discussed how civilizations form. So from the very basic level of a society and how they rise, and then the contributing factors to their demise. And every class was discussion based, so we got to come in and everybody had a different perspective. It's a course that I never would have taken as a counseling major. It was the first and only political science exposure that I've had. And by the end of the course, we had started at these very ancient civilizations, and then we progressed all the way through and started talking about our own civilizations. So at the end, we compared the United States and Chinese civilizations and how their paths are looking. So maybe you'll get to experience that if you've taken that course or if you're going to take that course.
Thank you, guys. The next requirement for being in the honors program is sometime during the 4 years that you're at Mansfield, you would plan and complete what we call high impact experiences, and you need to do 2 of these. And what these are experiences that are really designed to give you some really terrific experiences, and they might even be related to your major. So for example, one of the things that you could do is to do research with a faculty member in your major. We have a biology student right now who is working with one of the other biology faculty members, and he's actually doing a study on sleep deprivation in mice. And so he's going to be able to use that not only towards his biology major, but also as part of his honors requirements. Another option for a high impact experience is to do a study abroad. And Commonwealth has a number of faculty led study abroad experiences. The ones that I've pictured here are from Belize, which is a trip that Dr. Bosworth, who Katie talked about a few minutes ago, and his colleague, Dr. Rothermel, both from political science, run each summer. And we've had several honor students that have participated in this field trip, and it's just been a fantastic experience. They've been able to do all sorts of things. And so that could be used as the basis of your high impact experience. And so you would do the study abroad, and then you would come back, and then you would either write up sort of reaction based on that experience, or then you would take a component of that and develop it into a research paper. Other options would include an internship, so that could also be in conjunction with your major. And this is also sort of wide open. We work with each individual honor student to develop something that they think will be beneficial to them and that they want to do. So a significant leadership experience could be another example. Then one of those high impact experiences is going to be developed into a capstone project. So if you used your study abroad experience, for example, as your capstone project, you would take some component of that experience and develop it into a research paper, as I mentioned before. So, if you went to Belize, for example, and maybe you noticed something about the way people interact with each other, and you decide you want to pursue that a little bit further, you could then develop that into a research paper, which would be your capstone project. Then you also need, each semester, you need to participate in 2 honors program events. And we work really hard to give students lots of different options. For example, tomorrow night, I'm taking several students to see Stomp at the Clemens Center in Elmira, which is a percussion, it's a unique percussion show. I haven't seen it, but I'm excited to see it. I guess they use all kinds of unusual things to do percussion with. And here you see a trip. There's Katie right there in the middle that we did to Washington, D.C. a couple years ago. And on the right-hand side, just this February, we did an ice hike at Ricketts Glen, and we had a outdoors outfitter take us, and we put our crampons on, and this shows you one of the slippery, I don't know if that's a word, locations that as we were coming down. It was a really fun, exciting thing to do. But we also have opportunities on campus. So there have been some different concerts on campus that would count as your honors program event. There was a production of Kiss Me Kate earlier this semester that students could go to. And there are some trainings too that students can be involved in. So in a few weeks, there's one on microaggressions and understanding microaggressions and how to deal with those. And then finally, the last requirement is that students need to do 16 hours of volunteer service each year. That's a calendar year. So this would include Christmas breaks and summer breaks. And the service is, there's no particular requirements. It just needs to be some kind of service. So you can do that as part of your experience on campus. And we do have opportunities with the Honors Association to do that, which is a club, an honors club. And I'll let Katie and Bella talk for a minute or about that in just a minute. But you also, a lot of our students do volunteer service with other organizations that they're part of. So athletes, for example, often do service together. And then if you wanted to do service, like I mentioned, while you're at home, maybe you are involved in some kind of a church group or other service-oriented group that you work with over the summer, then those hours could be counted towards your 16 hours per year. All right, so why don't I pause and let's hear again from Bella. Actually, let's let Katie go first. Katie, can you share with us an honors program event that you really enjoyed?
Sure. My favorite trip that I got to do with the honors program was a freshman retreat to Crystal Lake camps. And I actually got to go as sort of a peer mentor. I went earlier this semester or last semester,
Fall, yeah.
in the fall. And we got to do canoeing, kayaking, paddleboarding, rock climbing, hiking, all kinds of outdoor activities. But there was also karaoke and movie night and game night. Um, and we all got to stay in cabins together. And it was just a great experience meeting people from the other campuses. So there were students from Lock Haven, students from Bloomsburg, um, and we got to do a lot of team building exercises, and it was a really nice way to get to know the freshmen in our program, but also get to know other peer mentors. So that was a great experience. And if you can do a freshman retreat, definitely take advantage of that.
Yeah, and I will say that in our honors director meeting today, we just decided on a date for the retreat. It will be at Crystal Lake again, and it'll be the second weekend after classes start. So I think it's September 8th or 9th. I can't remember the exact date, but again, that is completely paid for. There's no cost to that. And so it's a fantastic opportunity for those members of our honors college. Bella, how about you?
I remember our freshman year, we took a trip to Reptile Land, and that was pretty cool because I always drive past it on my way up to Mansfield, and I've always been like, I wonder what's actually in Reptile Land, because if you drive up that way, there's a lot of signs for Reptile Land, and so I was definitely interested in it, and the trip was interesting. Like we got to learn about the different animals, we got to see the site, and it was also just nice getting to like be with the other honor students and do that whole field trip. So that was my favorite.
Okay, this is a picture that Bella just mentioned at the top. That's when we went to Reptile Land. So there's some of our honors program students. And then there on the bottom, that is Lily, who's one of our honors program students with Dr. Wiest, who's in our geosciences program. And he took us out to look for fossils. And I was a little bit sad because Lily got so excited that she decided she didn't want to be a biology major anymore, and she decided she wanted to be a geoscience major. But it was it was a fantastic because we were able to expose her to something that they probably would not have been exposed to in otherwise. So it was pretty cool. So I guess one of the questions that often comes up is, how hard is it to be an honors program student? Does it take a lot of extra time? So I thought maybe Bella and Katie could just talk for another minute about any aspect of being an honors program student that you wanted to mention. Go ahead, Bella, you can start this time.
Um, I mean, I don't think any of it is like harder. Like I know like in high school, if you had like regular class, like honors class, it's like the honors are just like the harder version of the other class. But I think that it's just like a different experience. Like I always like my honors classes as like replacements for other gen eds because some classes might be more like, like the teacher's lecturing and you just listen. But the honors classes are a lot of like discussions and like working together and problem solving and talking about things. And it was definitely more my speed. I'm also an English major, so but it's definitely more my speed. And then the same way where you just be writing like instead of doing like a bunch of like tests or quizzes, it was like writing like papers where you had to like think critically and come up with your own ideas. And I really liked that aspect of it.
I think that being an honors student is in a lot of ways just like being a regular student, but you get a lot of unique opportunities that you don't get when you're a regular student. And the reason that I say it's the same is because there's not a lot of extra work that you have to do. The courses fit into your curriculum already. They substitute for gen eds. It all works out. And you are able to do pretty much what you do in your regular life. So if you volunteer at an organization, or if you coach a sports team, or like anything that betters the community in any way counts towards your service hours. So a lot of that you can get, all of it really, you can get by being part of the club, but you can also do it on your own terms as well. So everyone kind of works together to help you meet your requirements. There's a lot of reminders, there's a lot of opportunities. And even if you don't use any of the opportunities for service through the club, you can still get it on your own. So I think it's a really great position to be in, because you get the well-rounded education and you get a lot of interesting experiences, but you don't have to sacrifice your own time and your own college experience to get a higher standard of education.
Thank you. All right, so does anybody have any questions that we can answer?
Feel free to put them in either the chat, or if you raise your hand, I can actually, I have an option here to allow you to speak if you'd prefer to do it that way.
While we wait for questions to come in, Bella and I can talk a little bit about the club too.
Yes,
So
thank
we've
you. I
both
forgot
been-
to ask you to do that. Go ahead.
yeah, we've both been very involved in that. I think Bella currently is on the e-board for the club.
Just recently not president, don't worry. So
okay.
I still go to meetings though.
So the meetings I think are bi-weekly. Is that right? Yes. I'm not on campus this semester, so I have to keep up with everything they're doing, but the club was kind of my baby for a long time. But the club meets bi-weekly. It's a very quick meeting. It's just to go over what everyone's interested in, what everyone's doing, what they're up to. And we have a lot of service opportunities. So typically every semester we'll do a campus cleanup, and we will do some kind of like lately we've been doing voter registration. Like we'll do some kind of booth. So Bella and I have worked with Sharon Breitenbeck, who's just a member of the Mansfield community, and she's very passionate about voter registration. So we'll set up a table on campus somewhere, and we can help students register to vote in a nonpartisan, non-political way. We also every fall do a trick or treat for canned goods event, which is really fun. And everyone will dress up in their Halloween costumes, and we'll go around the borough and ask people for canned goods. And we have gotten some very sizable donations for the campus food pantry. So that has been going very, very well. Bella, if you want to say anything about the club.
I think you got most of it. But it's really nice. We just hang out. I know sometimes we come up with different activities to do. We recently did like an ethics problem thing that I came up with. We've done trolley problems, things like that. They're not super long meetings. And then most of it is to try to plan for future events. So either like come up with ideas to tell Dr. Clifford that we're interested in for trips, or like what Katie was saying with coming up with service ideas that we're able to do. I think right now we're planning on going to an animal shelter nearby to walk some dogs and take care of some cats. So I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, the club is pretty cool and there's a lot of really cool people in it.
We also do have a lot of fun in the club. So we recently started watching, I think this was in the fall, we watched Over the Garden Wall. It's just a show on Hulu, I think it is. So every meeting we would just watch an episode of the show together, which was really nice. Or sometimes we would play Uno. So it's really whatever you want it to be. There's been semesters where the club is just, we meet for 5 minutes, we check in, hi, how's everyone doing? Go on your way. And there's semesters where the club is, we're watching a show together, we're playing a game. So it's really just what you want it to be. And everyone's super nice and everyone has time for you and will make it what you want it.
So in case you're wondering how you can join the Honors College, you should have received notification based on your high school grades about whether you can just sign up to be in the Honors College. So if you have a 95% or above, all you have to do is log into your Slate. Do I have that right, Sean? Slate? Your Slate account, and there should be an area there where all you have to do is click a button and it says that you would like to join the Honors College, and that's all you have to do. If your high school GPA is between a 90 and a 95%, then there is an added step where you would need to write an essay. It's not a long essay, but you just have to write an essay, and I think you have the choice of a couple prompts, and just make sure that you address the prompt. And we're really just looking to see, can you write well, and do we think that you'll be able to do well in the honors program? And you can also provide us with other things like resumes or pieces of work that you might have done in the past. So you can also upload that to Slate so we can have a better feel for who you are. So really, if you haven't already, I really encourage you guys to commit to the Honors College. We'd be so thrilled to have you. And please ask any questions that you may have.
If no one's going to ask, I'm going to be the admissions guy in the room here. How many of you have already accepted the Honors College invite or have at least applied for the Honors College if you got the invite to apply? Go ahead and put that in the chat and just give us an idea, where you're at in the process and if there's anything we can help you with. Don't everybody jump at once.
The webinar format is very difficult for me not to be able to see the.
It's much different, for sure, than a traditional. Leslie, you talked about an opportunity to do service hours while they're even in session for semesters. One of the things that just came up last weekend was the Community Care Day. Is that an opportunity where students were to go and serve that day, can they get their volunteer hours for that?
Absolutely. Yep. Anything that they do that they feel is community service, that a reasonable person would think is community service would absolutely count. And so any opportunity on campus for things like that, yes, that would also count towards their honors requirement. If a person wants to bake cookies for somebody that's bummed out, if a person wants to rake some leaves of a neighbor, so any of those things would be just fine.
Okay. Thank you, Hope. Congratulations. And we're excited.
Yeah, absolutely.
Does anybody have any questions for Dr. Clifford and Isabella and Katie? This is your time to get those questions answered, right? You have 2 students and a professor here. You've heard from admissions the entire time. Let's talk to them now.
I'll just mention, I know that a lot of times a question that I get is, can you be an athlete and be in the honors program? And oh yeah, I'll get to that question in a second. And I do want to mention that I do have quite a few athletes who are honors program students. So I've had field hockey players. I have a football player now. I've had lots of soccer players. And I think I might have had track as well. So it's absolutely possible to do honors and be an athlete. Can we talk a little more about the honors living program, please? So, okay, so we have a hall within Spruce that is available for honors housing on a first come first served basis. So we definitely don't have space for everybody, but they are C units, which means that they are you have a private room. There are 2 people per unit. Each person has their own room, and then they have a shared bathroom. Is that right, guys? Help me. Yeah, that's not okay. A shared bathroom. And I think they have a little shared living space, a very small one. And that is in contrast to most of the rooms. Now, there are some C units, I should say. There are a few C units in the first year residence hall, but most of them are the rooms where you have 2 people in one room. So you don't have your own room. And what should happen if you are interested in that housing and you haven't heard back yet, let me know. If you haven't been offered that opportunity to live in the honors housing, let me know. And I will communicate with the residence hall people. I try to keep I give them an updated list, and they're supposed to send out invitations to students who have been accepted to the honors program to see if they would be interested in living in those spaces. Mara, does that answer your questions, or do you have more specific questions about the living? Hopefully that answered the question. Any other questions? Oh, good. I'm glad.
Camden and Aubrey, do you have any questions for this group?
Perfect. Thank you for attending, Camden. How about Aubrey? Do you have any questions, Aubrey? Oh, good. I'm glad you found it informative, Camden. If questions come up in the future, please feel free to reach out to me. Again, my name is Leslie Clifford, and I'm in the biology department. I forgot to show you guys, I had a slide that had my contact information on it. Maybe I'll just pull it up real fast. There I am. So there's my email. Notice that there's no D. If you put a D on it, it will go into some, I don't know, outer space or something. I'll never get it, and I won't get a notification that it's out there. So lcliffer@commonwealthu.edu, and that is my phone number. So please feel free to reach out. Dr. Hintz is the interim dean of honors, and so he's over the honors programs for all 3 campuses, and he's happy to take calls as well. So there's his information. And I'll just say that I do work closely with the honors program directors at the other 2 campuses, and we plan some activities together. So Katie was talking to you guys about the first year retreat. On Sunday, actually, we're going on a float trip up the Susquehanna River. And so we're bringing students from Mansfield, and we're getting together with students from Lock Haven and from Bloomsburg. And I'm going, and some of the other honors directors and Dr. Hintz is going. So pretty excited about that opportunity. Okay, I'm glad that you found that information helpful, Aubrey. Well, Sean, if there aren't any other questions.
Yeah, if there aren't any other questions, before we do break though, I am going to put our 2 students on the spot if you don't mind. Sorry, I'm the admissions guy in the room. Can you give this group one piece of advice that you would give to an incoming student for their entire college career, what would that advice be?
I got this advice my freshman year of high school from a senior in high school, so I feel like it still definitely applies for college, which was just that you think you're gonna have a lot of time and like you think it's gonna last forever and ever, and then you like open your eyes one day and you're like, wow, I'm at the end of that. So I feel like for incoming since I'm a senior, I feel like for incoming freshmen, that'd be my advice is just like take in every moment and get every opportunity you can and experience everything while you're here and because it only lasts, 4 years, however long you're here. So I think it's a really interesting point in your life, and I think it's good to try to enjoy it all while you can.
I have two things to say. So, one, along those lines, go to everything that you can, every event, every like extra workshop or anything that you can make it to, just try it. Even if you think you're not interested, some of the best things that I've done are things that I was like, oh, that's kind of weird, or that sounds like I maybe wouldn't like it, but I'm free and I'm not doing anything, so I'll go. And it's been so fun, and you meet people and you can bring friends that you already have, and it's just you make the best memories that way and learn so much that way. Um, and I would say the second thing is that you are never a bother to anyone on campus. If you ask for help, we have so many different resources available to you. There's free counseling, there's academic support, there's all kinds of clubs, all kinds of programs that you can do. So if you're struggling in really any area, if you have a roommate problem, if you just want to talk to someone, if you need help with school, there's always someone to help you, and there's always someone who knows who can help you. So go to your RA, go to your professors, go to your friends. It truly is the most supportive place, and everything is very accessible.
Thank you both. Very much appreciate it. Well, thank you everybody for attending this evening. It sounds like you all got some great information. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to Dr. Clifford, reach out to myself. I'm happy to help. Again, I'm Sean. I'm from the admissions office. If you email admissions, it'll get to me. So we're happy to answer anything that you have questions about. But thank you again, and enjoy the rest of your evening. We'll see you next time. Bye now.
Hope to see you all on campus in the fall.